It began with laughter, not the kind born of joy, but the sharp, dismissive chuckle of men who believed strength only spoke in thunder. 12 elite fighter pilots, hardened by combat drills and elite academies, stood in the briefing room at Edwards Air Force Base, their eyes fixed not on the mission board but on her, the quiet one, the woman who barely spoke above a whisper, the one they called Silent Storm, not as a badge of honor, but as a joke, a mockery, a punchline. Whispered behind her back, Silent Storm, Squadron Leader Marcus Thompson had scoffed, helmet in hand, a smirk tugging at his lips. Sounds like something out of a B-movie. What's next? Whispering death, the Quiet Avenger. The room erupted in laughter. Even the junior officers joined in, egging each other on. But none of them knew none of them could have. Imagine that in exactly 47 minutes, that same woman would become the only thing standing between 24 enemy warplanes and the total destruction of Los Angeles. None of them knew that the quietest voice in the room would soon be the loudest force in the sky. And none of them knew that the storm they mocked would, in less than 8 minutes, rewrite the history of aerial combat, save millions of lives, and silence every last one of their doubts forever. This is not just a story of war, it's a story of underestimation, of courage that doesn't need a spotlight, of a single pilot who, when the world burned, didn't scream for attention, she simply acted. And when the smoke cleared, one name echoed across the Pacific, through the corridors of the Pentagon, and into the hearts of every American who had unknowingly been saved. Lieutenant Sophia Brooks. The legend of Silent Storm had begun. Edwards Air Force Base, California, 7:13 a.m. The morning sun cut through the high windows of Briefing Room Alpha, casting long shadows across the steel tables and tactical displays. The air was thick with the scent of coffee, jet fuel, and testosterone. 12 F-22 Raptor pilots, all men, stood in formation, their flight suits crisp, their egos sharper. This was the 47th Fighter Squadron, America's finest, the tip of the spear, the guardians of the skies, and in their midst stood the anomaly. At 28, she was the youngest officer in the squadron and the only woman. Petite, with sharp gray-green eyes that seemed to absorb everything without revealing anything. She stood at attention like a statue. Her voice, when she spoke, was so soft it often required others to lean in. She didn't boast. She didn't banter. She didn't retaliate when mocked. She simply was. And for the past 6 months, that had been enough to make her a target. Brooks, Thompson said, flipping through the mission roster. You're on standby today. Ground control. Liaison. Maybe help the new recruits with simulator drills. A few pilots exchanged glances. Smirks. One even stifled a laugh. Sir, Sophia said, barely above a whisper, I'm cleared for flight ops. My last psych eval was green. My flight hours exceed squadron average. Thompson didn't even look at her. I know your stats, Brooks, but this is a high-stakes drill. We need aggressive pilots, leaders, people who can command in the heat of battle. And you don't think I can? She asked, still calm, still quiet. Thompson finally turned to her, a patronizing half-smile on his face. It's not about can, Lieutenant. It's about presence. You don't project authority. You don't inspire confidence. Out there, he pointed toward the hangar. It's not just skill, it's presence. And you're too quiet. The room fell silent, not out of respect but out of anticipation. They were waiting for her to crack, to snap, to prove them right. But Sophia didn't. She simply nodded. Understood, sir. And that was it. No anger, no defiance, just acceptance. To the others, it looked like submission. But Sophia Brooks wasn't submitting. She was waiting. Because sometimes, the most dangerous people aren't the ones who shout. They're the ones who listen. And she had been listening to everything. 7:58 a.m. The first sound was a scream, not human, mechanical, primal. The base-wide emergency siren, the banshee wail of imminent war ripped through the air like a knife. Red lights pulsed across the briefing room, bathing the pilots in blood-colored light. The laughter died. The jokes vanished. In their place, pure, unfiltered adrenaline. The door slammed open. Lieutenant Colonel Patricia Hayes, operations commander, burst in, her face pale, her voice raw with urgency. Scramble, scramble. 24 hostile aircraft have breached restricted airspace. This is not a drill. The room exploded. Chairs scraped. Boots pounded the floor. Helmets were snatched from lockers. Hostiles confirmed, Thompson barked. Already sprinting toward the hangar. Yes, Hayes shouted. Intelligence confirms hostile intent. They've already taken out our forward patrol 6 F-16s. All down, no survivors. Targets are lax, downtown LA, Hollywood, Santa Monica Pier, and the Long Beach Naval Base. Thompson froze. Casualties? Estimated in the millions if they reach their targets, Hayes said, her voice cracking. They're armed with advanced air-to-ground missiles, anti-ship ordnance. Some have stealth capabilities. We don't know where they came from, but they're here. The weight of it crushed the room. Los Angeles, a city of 4 million families, children, skyscrapers, airports, naval ships packed with sailors, all in the crosshairs, and only 11 F-22 Raptors to stop them. Thompson turned to his pilots, barking orders like a general. Davidson and Morrison Alpha Flight, Lax, Peterson and Williams Bravo. Downtown, Chang and Rodriguez Charlie Hollywood, Martinez and Parker Delta, Santa Monica. Stevens and he paused. Brooks, he said, turning to her, you stay. Ground control. Coordinate with NORAD. This is too dangerous. Sophia didn't argue. She just turned and walked toward the hangar. Thompson didn't notice. He was already running. But someone else did. Aircraft 06 for 108. Sophia's Raptor. Already rolling toward the active runway. Brooks, Thompson's voice crackled over the radio. Furious, return to hangar immediately. You are not cleared for flight. The roar of afterburners drowned his words. On the tarmac, Sophia. Brooks gripped the throttle, her heart steady, her mind sharper than a scalpel. She didn't respond. She didn't need to, because as the other 11 Raptors taxied into position, hers was already airborne. Climbing at maximum thrust into the California sky. Americans are about to die, she said softly, but with a steel beneath it that cut through the static. And then she was gone. Thompson cursed, slamming his fist against the cockpit. She's going to get herself killed. But there was no time. The other 11 Raptors launched in rapid succession, their afterburners painting the sky in blue fire. The battle had begun. In the air, the situation was worse than anyone imagined. Control to all flights, came the urgent transmission. Bogies bearing to 180, range 40 miles. Multiple attack groups confirmed. They're hitting 5 targets simultaneously. Thompson checked his radar. 20 for blips, 5 formations, 5 targets, and only 11 American fighters. The math was impossible. Alpha Flight Lax Group. For bogies. Bravo Downtown, 5 bogies. Charlie Hollywood, 4. Delta Santa Monica, 3. Echo Naval Base, 8 bogies. Silence, 8 against. 2, that's suicide, Captain Davidson said. Thompson hesitated. I'll take the naval base myself. Sir, you'll be outnumbered 4 to 1. Thompson knew it. But what choice did he have? Then, over the radio, a voice so quiet it was almost lost in the static. I'm taking the naval base group. Everyone froze. Brooks, Thompson said, you are not authorized. But Sophia didn't flinch. Sir, she said, her voice cutting through like a blade. 8 enemy aircraft are about to sink American warships. Authorization isn't going to stop them. Thompson checked his radar. A single blip, hers diving toward the naval formation from an impossible angle. High, fast, silent. She wasn't just attacking, she was hunting, and she was about to do the unthinkable. The Long Beach Naval Base, the USS Gerald Ford, America's most advanced aircraft carrier, sat at anchor, flanked by 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. Thousands of sailors moved across the decks unaware, unsuspecting. Above them, 8 enemy fighters advanced, stealth-capable, armed with anti-ship missiles closed in. They were seconds from launch, then silence. Sophia had positioned her Raptor above and behind the formation, invisible to radar, undetected. Her first missile fired. The lead enemy aircraft exploded, a fireball in the sky, no warning. No distress call, just gone. Before the others could react, her second missile struck, eliminating the U coordinator. Their radar jamming failed. Their comms collapsed. Chaos. The remaining 6 scattered, but Sophia had predicted it. She fired again. A third enemy fighter diving toward the ford with bunker buster bombs vanished in a plume of smoke. A fourth trying to reorganize the group was silenced. A fifth using the USS Mitchell as cover was destroyed with such precision the destroyer didn't even shudder. Sixth fleeing toward international waters was hunted down. A seventh aiming for the Naval Air Station was obliterated before it could release its payload. And the eighth, it went suicidal diving straight for the carrier's flight deck. Sophia didn't hesitate. She switched to cannon. Tracers lit the sky like deadly fireworks. The enemy aircraft exploded. Meters from impact, the ford was saved, and in 90 seconds, 8 enemy fighters were gone. Naval base group eliminated, Sophia reported, as calmly as if she'd just parked her car. Moving to assist other flights. Silence. Then, did she just say eliminated? 8 kills in under 2 minutes. Holy hell. Silent Storm just saved the entire naval base, but the battle wasn't over. While Sophia fought the impossible, the others were losing. Lax, 1 terminal already burning. A 777 full of 300 civilians on the runway. Downtown. Missiles striking skyscrapers. Glass rained on the streets. Thousands trapped. Hollywood, studios in the crosshairs. Residential zones, no room for error. Santa Monica Pier, families on rides. Beaches packed, no cover. And Sophia, she was everywhere. She hit Lax like lightning, downing all 4 attackers in 58 seconds. A passenger jet saved. A control tower protected. A fuel depot spared. Lax group eliminated. All civilian aircraft safe. Then downtown, she flew between skyscrapers. Missiles finding their marks with inhuman precision. Wells Fargo Tower, U.S. Bank, Wilshire Grand. All saved. Downtown group eliminated. All civilians protected. Hollywood fell in 90 seconds. For fighters, 0 collateral damage. Hollywood. Group eliminated. All studios and residential areas protected. Santa Monica 3 attackers. Crowded beaches. A Ferris wheel turning in peace. All 3 downed. No casualties. Santa Monica Pier secured. And then silence. All enemy aircraft eliminated. 20 for confirmed kills. 0 American losses. 0 civilian casualties. Mission accomplished. Back at Edwards, the debriefing room was silent. Thompson stood at the front, holding a report that looked like fiction. 20 for kills, he said, voice trembling. All by 1 pilot. 1 woman. 1 we mocked this morning. Captain Davidson stood. Ma'am, this morning, we laughed at. Your call sign. Called it to soft, to quiet. Today, you saved Los Angeles. You saved us. Lieutenant Parker, once her harshest critic, spoke next. My sister works downtown. She called me, crying, thanking me for protecting her. I had to tell her it wasn't me, it was you. Sophia looked at them. Then, for the first time in years, she smiled. Small, quiet, but it filled the room. Just doing my job, sir. Thompson walked to her, removed his squadron patch, and handed it to her. Brooks, as of now, you're not just flight lead. You're squadron commander. The room erupted not in laughter, but in applause. The next morning, 12 F-22s lined up for patrol. But the formation had changed. At the front, Silent Storm. No longer the quiet girl in the back. Now the leader, the legend, the storm they had mocked. Thompson's voice came over the radio. Silent Storm, you have the lead. Sophia responded, calm, confident, clear. Roger that, squadron. Silent Storm has the lead, and I'll bring everyone home. And as they climbed into the clouds, one truth echoed in every heart. Sometimes, the most powerful storms are the ones that strike in complete silence. Lieutenant Sophia Brooks didn't seek glory. She didn't need praise. She didn't fight for recognition. She fought because it was right. And in 8 minutes of flawless, impossible combat, she proved that true strength doesn't shout. It acts, it protects, it endures. And sometimes, when the world is darkest, the quietest voice becomes the loudest force of all. Silent Storm, not a joke, not a mockery, a legend, and one that will never be forgotten.